Hello, this is Faith of Faith and Books, and I'm going to do a tag. It was originated by Noah at Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse. I think it's at least a couple weeks old. I have seen his and several other people's, and so I thought I would tackle it too. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, and so I came up with my own 5. Now, I agree with Noah on the first one. This just came to mind right away. And when he said that his first one was To Kill a Mockingbird, I don't have the dust jacket anymore. I thought, yes, that's right. So he always does it like this, so I'll do it like Noah does. Yeah, I think this is a perfect book. It's just, well, let me talk about how I would define perfect. Because I tried to learn Latin for so long and actually taught the intro level of Latin. You know, you learn about the perfect tense. And in English, we have the perfect tense. And perfect comes from the words per, through, and then facere, which means to do or to make. And so it's, you know, you've made it through. The perfect tense is the tense you use when something's completed. It's not ongoing. It's something that's completely finished. And they also use it in the way meaning completely fulfilled, you know, completely finished. And so that's how I think of a perfect book. It's a book that is just complete in all its elements, you know, so that it's a very fulfilling experience. When you finish it, you're satisfied, you're satiated, because it's brought all the elements together and it's all in balance. And I think that's true of To Kill a Mockingbird. It just, you know, it creates these wonderful characters, Atticus and Scout and Jem and, you know, everyone. And it has such a good, you know, theme or conflict, and it recreates the Old South and all its charm and the underlying evil, and it's just one. And the recreation of childhood is really authentic and complicated, and it's just the writing is beautiful. And it's just very satisfying. And that's why I never went on to read Go Set a Watchman or whatever, because this didn't need another book. It's just perfect in and of itself. And so, and I hear that to Go Set a Watchman wasn't such a good sequel or whatever it was. Anyway, so To Kill a Mockingbird would be my first perfect book. My second perfect book is David Copperfield. And I was just talking about this to the Victorian Book Club, because we were saying what our favorite Victorian novel was. And I've read this several times. And I just think I think this is the best of Dickens. Just his characters, the humor, the complexity of the storyline, the lessons to be learned. It's just so memorable and so satisfying, and it has a warmth to it that just makes it such a satisfying, fulfilling reading experience. So David Copperfield would be my second. My third would be a book that I'm waiting to reread. I want to do a buddy read with Christy at Dostoevsky in Space. I don't know if we're still on for that, but it's this book, Laurus. And what I loved about this book is it was completely absorbing right from the beginning. And you go on this young man's spiritual journey throughout his life. And without even realizing it, the book brings you back around full circle. And I never saw it coming, and it just came back full circle, and it had such a satisfying ending because everything was rectified. Everything got redeemed at the end. And it was just very powerful. So I thought this was a perfect book. Another one, which it's a children's book really, and it's a very quiet one. It's a Swallowdale. It's just about these children who are friends who go on a summer holiday and they just do childish things. You know, they camp and they have adventures, and it's very kind of realistic, but it's very quiet and gentle, and the children are completely real. They're rounded out. Their characters are rounded out. The pacing is very steady and satisfying. It's just a quiet little story, completely realistic. I mean, I don't know, is that the word I want? Realistic. It completely portrays children and their complicated relationships with each other, and their life of imagination and adventure, and just really, really charming and very satisfying. And I remember when I finished reading it, I thought, well, that was a perfect book. That was just a perfect book. It was just perfectly told, perfectly paced, perfectly developed. You know, the descriptions and the dialogue, everything about it just hit the spot. So Swallowdale by Arthur Ransom would be another perfect book that I've recently read. And then the last one is perfect for two reasons. And I did not actually read this one. I listened to it. I want to read it again. But this is the last, well, it says The Last Chronicle of Barset by Anthony Trollope. And he has, it's the whole chronicles. It starts with the Warden. Let's see if I can name them all. The Warden, Barchester Towers. Oh boy. Now I'm going to start, now I can't remember the other ones. I've read them all. I promise I've read them all. I can't remember. There's Dr. Thorne. Oh, that was one. Oh, Framley Parsonage. Oh boy, they don't, how can they not have the other books listed here? Anyway, I read all of them. And this one is, oh, The Small House at Allington. Oh my gosh, that one broke my heart. That might be all of them. And then this is the last one. Possibly I've named them all. Anyway, so this is the last one. And not only was it a perfect book, and it did two things. It wrapped up all the loose strings of the prior books in the series, but it also had its own story arc going on in it, which was also very satisfying. So it was sort of doing two things at once, and it just did it in an utterly perfect way. So it was a perfect ending to what I think is a perfect series of books. And I had such a, I mean, I was just floating on air when I finished this, finished listening to it. I had read the other books. So yeah, so I think this is the perfect ending to a perfect series of books by Anthony Trollope. So those are my 5 perfect books. And I watched Alan at Big, oh, I forget now the name, Big Hard Books and Classics. Is that what? And he said, you know, the minute you make a list, you're going to think, oh, you know, The Great Gatsby. That was exactly the book that I thought of when he said that. I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good book too. I mean, there are other perfect books too, but since we're limiting it to 5. So it's To Kill a Mockingbird, David Copperfield, Laurus, and Swallowdale by Arthur Ransom, and Anthony Trollope's The Last Chronicle of Barset. So that's it from me. I hope you're doing well, and happy reading. Bye.